Good afternoon again, Stephen. Certainly the Steinhoff story being one that just keeps on giving with all the layers that are continuously being unpacked. And considering that this year in the making, some might say it isn't certainly a little bit too late because this is something that has been ongoing for quite a while, for a couple of years now. And just to unpack a little bit on some of, the issues that are coming out when it comes to the market use, the fines, I'm now joined by Rob Rose, who is the editor of the Financial Mail, as well as the author of Steinhoff. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon, Rob. So let's start here. The question is, obviously, this afternoon, are all these movements that we're seeing with the JSE as well as the FCSA going after those fines from Markus Jooste, is it too little, too late? I mean, Markus is not exactly a young man who's entering the workforce, but in reality was probably ready to exit and after raking up some resources for himself after the years of work.
I certainly think you could say it's too late because, in December it was 5 years since the Steinhoff issue blew up and wiped off 200 billion rand from people's pensions. So you could certainly say it's too late. Whether it's too little, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, these are quite large fines. I think they're precedent setting in terms of the JSE. And the tribunal, the Financial Sector Tribunal, has now asked them to reconsider the size of the fines. But the importance of it is that this had to be done, and it's one of the first few steps that are being taken against Markus Jooste, and no doubt many such steps will follow. But it is important for the JSE and for the criminal authorities not to mess up this case. It's very important for the stability and the governance of our stock exchange and our corporate sector that this is done properly.
Now, Rob, Markus has appealed the fine, and the Financial Services Tribunal swiftly dismissed that appeal. On what grounds did Markus base that appeal on?
Well, they haven't released full details of that, but what you can surmise from the various objections he's made to the actions against him so far by the regulator, which is the Financial Sector Conduct Authority, is that he feels that he did nothing wrong. That's a story he stuck to. That's a story he gave in Parliament in 2018. And it's a story that has reappeared in many of his objections to the size of the fines levied against him so far. I think we talk of Jacob Zuma and the Stalingrad strategy, and it's essentially the same strategy you will see in every single action that's going to keep coming at Markus Jooste for the next few years, which is that I did nothing wrong. How do you justify the size of these fines? And for you to take this action against me is completely unjustified. So I think that's the basis of his arguments so far, and I think that will be the basis of his future arguments against the Reserve Bank, which has frozen his assets, and various other tribunals that are going to come for him in the next couple of years.
Now, Rob, and I pose this question to the Financial Services Conduct Authority on what about all the other directors that are implicated in the scandal? It seems most of the focus is on Markus, as it should be, but should we also not be running after the accomplices as well with the same force?
If you have a look at the case in Germany, there's a criminal case going ahead in Germany against 4 people. So they have isolated 4 people, and that case is going ahead. There was a forensic investigation done by PwC, and they isolated 8 people central to this fraud, which was huge in the context of South Africa. It was 106 billion rand of fictitious profits over more than a decade. So it's by far our largest fraud. So you do want to make sure that everyone involved is held accountable. But PwC found 8 people to be responsible for this, and there are actions being taken against those people. But I think it's certainly correct that Markus Jooste has been named as the ringleader. So it is critical that they get the case against him done, and if they are using the information obtained from any of the others in it, it is vital that Markus Jooste be held to account as the person who put it together. So I certainly think there are efforts to hold others accountable, but it is vital that the person at the center, with the CEO of the company instrumental to this fraud, is held accountable first and foremost, and that's the one we remember. If other people are sent to prison for this crime and not Markus Jooste, I think there'll be big questions over all our authorities.
Rob, that's where we'll have to leave it this afternoon. Thank you once again for your insights. And of course, that was Financial Mail editor and author of Steinhoff, Rob Rose.